Jayam. Namaskaram to all viewers of JyothirMaarg. Dear viewers, in the last episode, we had discussed the birth of the Pandava Princes, Maharaja Pandu's death in the forest, and thereafter the arrival of Kunti and the Pandava Princes in Hasthinapur. Now let's continue. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Harihi Om. The after-death rites of Maharaja Pandu were performed and completed properly. Then one day, Rishi Vedavyasa visited his mother Satyavati, who was still mourning the death of her grandson Pandu. Vyasa told her that the days of peace and happiness are over, and now wrongful acts and adharma of the Kauravas will lead to great unrest and calamity. Rather than being a witness to all this in her old age, Vyasa advised his mother to accept Vanaprastha, which is retiring to the forest and living there, adopting an ascetic way of life. Satyavati's daughters-in-law, Ambika and Ambalika, also decided to join her. Thereafter, all three of them set off to the forest and spent their lives there in meditation and contemplation, and living like that, they attained moksha in due course. Meanwhile, the Pandava and the Kaurava princes started their lives, studying and playing together in the Kuru palace at Hasthinapur. While playing, the Pandavas always dominated over the Kaurava princes. All the 100 brothers joined together also was not a match for Bhima alone. In speed and strength, that son of Vayudeva won over them every single time. Thus, over a period of time, Duryodhan, the eldest of the Kaurava brothers, couldn't control his hatred and enmity towards Bhima and the Pandavas in general anymore. Moreover, being the eldest among the Pandava and Kaurava princes, Yudhishtira was destined to be the next king of the Kurus. Duryodhan was not ready to accept this also. So, as a first step, he started devising schemes to kill Bhima in one way or other. Thereafter, Duryodhan thought that he will imprison the remaining 4 Pandava brothers and then he can reign as the sovereign ruler of the Kuru kingdom. With this in mind, Duryodhan planned a trip to a very beautiful spot by name Pramanakoti in the banks of the Ganga river. Arrangements were made for a short stay with great and tasty food and facilities for land and water sports. Accordingly, very beautiful and luxuriously decorated tents with attendants and cooks were all ready and waiting as per Duryodhan's orders. Then he invited Yudhishtira and his brothers to go on a trip to Pramanakoti for water sports, recreations and enjoyments. Yudhishtira accepted Duryodhan's invitation and then, mounted on very well-tamed elephants and huge chariots, they all reached the banks of the Ganga river where all preparations were ready for their entertainment. Seeing the magnificent tents, which were decorated like the rooms of the palace, they all congratulated Duryodhan and then they played various games in the adjoining grounds and gardens. Thereafter, when they were hungry, those princes came back for refreshments and in their love and affection for each other, in a playful mode, fed themselves by putting the food in each other's mouths. Meanwhile, the wicked Duryodhan had mixed very powerful poison in sweets, which he completely fed to Bhima by placing them in Bhima's mouth with his own hands. After eating all the delicacies to their minds' content, they all jumped into the crystal clear waters of the Ganga river and, swimming far and wide, engaged themselves in different types of water sports. Bhima being strong and powerful, the poison was spreading very slowly only in his system. Meanwhile, getting tired after some time, the princes came out of water one by one and went to the tents and lay down to relax. Bhima was slowly getting weak and as such, he was the last one to reach the shore. As soon as he touched the land, unable to walk anymore due to the effect of the poison, Bhima lay down there and soon he became unconscious. Duryodhan, who was watching Bhima from behind the trees, immediately bound Bhima with rope-like vines and pushed him into the fast-flowing and deep waters of the Ganga river. Bhimasena, that son of Vayu, with a very heavy body, sank into the depths of the river, finally touching the river bottom. There, with his smashing body weight, Bhima made a forced entry into the world of the Nagas. Taking him as an intruder and an enemy, the serpents came in thousands and bit Bhima, filling his body with snake venom. Now the poison of the snakes worked as an anti-venom and neutralized the poison which was already there inside Bhima from the food given by Duryodhan. Thus, that son of Vayudeva came back into his normal senses and with one mighty expansion of his body broke all those wine drops with which Duryodhan had tied him. Getting up, Bhima started killing the snakes in hundreds and thousands with his bare hands and with the stamping of his feet. Those snakes who managed to escape alive ran to their king Vasuki and informed him about this incident. Vasuki, then accompanied by those and other snakes, went to that place and saw Bhimasena. Along with Vasuki was a king serpent by name Aryaka, who was the great-grandfather of Kunti's father. Aryaka, in his divine vision, recognized his great-grandson and embraced him with great love and affection. Now, recognizing this handsome, heavy-built and mighty scion of the Kuru race as having his origin from the Nagas, a well-pleased Vasuki asked Aryaka how he wanted to honor Bhima and what all gifts are to be given to this son of the late Maharaja Pandu. Contemplating for a while, that Aryaka of great ascetic merits replied that they should give him the Naga nectar as much as he can drink, each pot of which will give him the strength of 10,000 elephants. Then the serpents took Bhima to their sacred room and making him to sit facing the east, performed purification rituals. Thereafter, they offered him the Ras Kumbh or the pots filled with Naga nectar. Sitting there, Bhima drank 8 full pots of that nectar without any strain. Then Bhima slept deep and long in the very comfortable bed which the Nagas had prepared for him. Back at Pramanakoti, all those princes were now ready to return to the palace. Since they couldn't find Bhima anywhere, Yudhishtira asked everyone, including Duryodhan, if they had seen Bhima. Only Duryodhan replied that Bhima had gone back to the palace ahead of everyone. Reaching back, Yudhishtira hurriedly approached Kunti and asked her about Bhima, to which Kunti replied that Bhima has not yet come back. Then they were all worried, and Kunti immediately summoned Vidura and told him that Bhima is missing. Kunti said, "O illustrious one, that wicked Duryodhan is malicious and crooked. He hates Bhima, and his heart and mind is set on the throne. He may have done something to endanger my son." Vidura told Kunti not to worry, as the great sage Rishi Vedavyasa had said that all the 5 sons of Pandu will live long. Vidura also advised Kunti not to speak against Duryodhan. If Duryodhan came to know about that, without that he will cause them more harm. Then Vidura left Kunti and the 4 brothers, reassuring them that Bhima will return safely and he will make them all very happy. Meanwhile, at Naglok, Bhima woke up from his sleep on the 8th day. By that time, all those 8 pots of Naga nectar had been fully digested and absorbed by his body. Then the Nagas told him, "O mighty one, as a result of your consuming this powerful nectar, you have attained the strength of 10,000 elephants, and you will not run out of energy, meaning you will never get tired even if you are fighting without rest. Your body is already like Vajra, and with this strength and inexhaustible energy, you have become invincible. Now you must take bath in this sacred milk and go home without delay, as your mother and brothers will be tense because of your absence." Afterwards, they gave him pure white color celestial garments and ornaments of gold decked with priceless Naga gems and jewels. Then they tied the Naga Mangal Sutra on his wrist and made him to wear a very fragrant and colorful garland made of the sacred flowers of the Naglok. Finally, Bhima was fed with the ultimate food, or the Paramanna, which was the pudding made of milk and rice with the other ingredients of the Naglok. This made his body resistant to all kinds of poisons. With all these adorations showered on him by the Nagas, Bhimasena, the tall, strong and well-built scion of the Kuru race, appeared glowing and radiant like a deva. Now, all great serpents of Nagalok gave him endless blessings, and Bhima also bowed in respect and did pranam to them for all their love, affection, and blessings. Then, in the split of a second, those Nagas carried Bhima from their world to the banks of the Ganga river. Leaving him at the same spot where Duryodhan had pushed him into the waters of the Ganga river 8 days back, those blissful Nagas bid farewell to Bhima and entered and disappeared in the same waters of that Ganga river. Then that son of Vayudeva travelled with the speed of wind and reached his mother and brothers in no time. Bhima did pranam to his mother Kunti and elder brother Yudhishtira by touching their feet, and then Kunti and his brothers embraced him with tears of joy and affection. Thereafter, Bhima told them everything. The Nagas had told him that he had been poisoned. Now Bhima recounted how Duryodhan himself had fed him a whole lot of selected sweets by placing them in Bhima's mouth by himself. Bhima also told them about all that had taken place at the Nagalok. Now Vidura, who always treaded the path of truth and dharma, also arrived there and advised them not to speak about what had happened at Pramanakoti and at the Nagalok to anybody. And thereafter also that great Vidura continued to advise them and guide them for their wellness and well-being. When Duryodhan saw Bhima back and alive and stronger than before, he became more determined to finish off Bhima and to end the threat of the right and claim of Yudhishtira on the throne of the Kuru kingdom. Like that, even though it was beyond his understanding, time had played a game with Duryodhan. It was like this. Whatever Duryodhan had done was with the intention of killing Bhima. But the result of his karma was that Bhima became stronger than before and fully resistant to all kinds of poisons. In the days to come, at a time decided by time, there was going to be a time in store for Duryodhan to face the wrath and might of Bhima. In short, the result of Duryodhan's karma was making his own predator stronger and more powerful. Then one day, Duryodhan obtained the strongest poison by name Kalakuta and mixing it with food, got it served to Bhima. Meanwhile, Yulsu, the son of Dhritarashtra in a Vaishya woman, came to know about this devious scheme of Duryodhan. Yulsu was of a very truthful nature and friend and well-wisher of the Pandavas, so he informed Bhima about it. But Bhima, who was now resistant to all poisons, ate that food with a smile and digested it without any problem. During this period, Bhishma and Dhritarashtra got the services of Krupacharya to teach the Pandava and Kaurava princes advanced level of Dhanurveda, meaning the use of weapons and warfare. Dear viewers, here we end this chapter of our summarized rendering of Rishi Vedavyasa's timeless epic, the Mahabharata. If you enjoyed this video and if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, may I request you to subscribe now. And may I request you to kindly like this and to put your comments also. Please also share this channel with those who may really wish to understand about this great epic Mahabharata. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayed. Harihi Om.